The truth about the purgatory. Many not believing that the purgatory is true, as they said was not written, letra for letra, but they believe about the word rapture and such wills of God which were not also written letra for letra in the Bible. As I've said, many matter or things or event in the Bible that has no name are not bad to be given names, as this was proven in the Quran. Even so, such things or matter or event has already a name or names yet was still given with another names. Some said the name Jesus is not true. Ironically, they also name Yeshua with other names as Isa, and says Yahweh is not Yahweh, but they also pronounce Isa as Isa. Now as was written, no unclean things can enter heaven, so as was, Jesus did not let him be touched by Magdalene of saying, I have not ascended yet to the Father or to heaven. So with this I hope they already got a clue, and Jesus, as though his parents are blameless or spotless, yet as of his being a Christ also, permitted it that he will be purified when he was an infant, and the man Jesus as though blameless yet he was baptized with water, because no one could be entered into God's church if unclean, so how much more to heaven. So with this also again may they already have a knowledge about purgatory. Now remember about the Daniel 12 verse 10, as this is about in time of the said 1000 years, a matter that will also be done by those who were been seated in the throne mentioned in Revelation 20 verse 4, they will judge. So if was said that there is a book of life, so meaning those that will be entered into heaven were already written, so how these saints will judge, so meaning they will also judge those who are still alive that have a light sins who were not written yet in the book of life, and those with sins or great sins that have done also a righteousness in the name of God and or Jesus, and as to judge all that must be purified and be made spotless as of what was written in Daniel 12 verse 10, then who are these that will be purified and be made spotless? You will think that it is those sinners, because why will the righteous or those who were written in the book of life need to purify and be made spotless yet if they are blameless or was already written in the book of life? But the fact it is not the sinners or not righteous that will be purified and be made spotless, but it is those both the righteous and those with light sin or sins and all that were written in the book of life, and those righteous that committed a great sin. So why they still be purified or be made spotless if they were been judged to enter heaven? This is it is in the reasons like as to what I already discuss above. They will be purified or be made spotless as though they are already bound to heaven, as because of their spirits being sullied either by the uncleanliness of their parents or of the uncleanliness of the earth, for as was cited no unclean things that could enter heaven. That is why when Jesus was near to ascend to heaven he did not let Magdalene to touch him. So if they will be cleansed because of being sullied by the uncleanliness of the earth, then why it was written many will be purified and be made spotless, but why it exclude those sinners, as they will even think as the righteous are already clean? The word many is not being referred any more to all who were not judged to enter heaven, meaning it was just referred to all who will be deliverers to heaven, for it is intellectual to think that what will be cleansed by the saints and Jesus by God's words are the multitude of sinners, as it is already the time of final judgment. And always remember, God's words couldn't save anyone by the words of God itself, it could only save it being followed. So what is there time at all to follow it, as it is already a final judgment? Now where is the said purgatory? The fact is not only purgatory but purgatories. If as to say purgatories, it means it is a places to where all that will be brought to heaven will be cleansed. So meaning if there is cleansing there will be a places for it to be executed. So if that places has no names yet, then it is not bad to be named, for even God, Allah, said call me into whatever best name you want to call me. So meaning there is not just one purgatory, it will be a purgatories in Hades, for it was known that there is also a segregation of the dead in Hades. I wish you know these, as these were mentioned in the Bible, and purgatories in earth. Generally this purgatories not occurring yet, because there's no general cleansing yet, but sparsely this is occurring already, for some were already brought to heaven. Now as to those who said there is no purgatory, it is Jesus that saves. It is true indeed that it is Jesus that saves, but he uses such people and such ways as how those who were bound to heaven can enter heaven, as that is why also there is a said Revelation 20 verse 4 and Daniel 12 verse 10 as about cleansing to be done by those who were been seated in the throne. And as to the one who ask, why the one who was crucified with Jesus he did not went through purgatory, he thinks purgatory is just of somewhere else. Purgatory means a place where everyone or anyone that will be brought to heaven will be cleansed, but generally it will takes place in Hades and in earth during the said 1000 years, as a preparation for the said 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 16 to 17, many thinks the judgment days is only about tribulation. No. It is also about Revelation 20 verse 4 related to Daniel 12 verse 10 as to who will be brought to heaven or hell, and the one whom Jesus sent to heaven on that day, Jesus himself already cleansed that man's spirit. So with this may you know now the said purgatory, it is not about of cleansing the sin by confessing, or by believing the gospel, as that if anyone confessing but not repenting and as not all accepting the words of God it cannot make them clean also, because purgatory is just at one time to be done, as whenever there will be a person or persons to be brought to heaven. Purgatories is the places where the cleansing of the spirit that was being sullied with the uncleanliness of parents or of the earth will be done by those who were been seated in the throne, and by Jesus, and the cleansing of those with light sin who were not written yet in the book of life, and those righteous who committed a great sin which is not by their heart, if either they will be judged to be cleansed yet or not, meaning purgatory is only taking place when there is or there are a spirit or spirits that will be brought to heaven. That is why as I've said generally it will takes place in the said 1000 years, and as I've said sparsely it is occurring, for there are already who were been brought to heaven, so if was cited that nothing unclean can enter heaven, so no one who was defiled by the uncleanliness of the parents, or if the earth even he is righteous or blameless, can enter heaven. So who told you that the one criminal who was crucified with Jesus was not being cleansed first before he was delivered to heaven? Even the man Jesus did not let his body to be touched by Magdalene when he is near to ascend to the Father, heaven, 2 Chronicles 23 verse 19, so how much more to heaven? Do not think so that Jesus abolished the tradition of not touching unclean, as he is the one who commanded all those things. When he said, why do you break the tradition of God just because of your tradition or human tradition, Jesus didn't mean that he abolished the law, but what he mean is for what he said, you must follow the latter without neglect or leaving the former undone. Now why did I said if no purgatory no one can enter heaven? It is of the fact every matter occupied space or place, like as when God creates his creation inside him, for God is spirit, the space or the place where everything were created. That is why it was written God is everywhere. God cannot be everywhere if there is another space in the beginning. That is why it was written, no one can hide from God, for God fills the earth, and heaven and earth cannot contain God. So as if there is a cleansing there will be a place for that, or there will be no cleansing if it will not occupy a place. So how could such matters or things or places of matters be talked or be specified if will not be given a name?